In the hushed aftermath of battle, amidst the echoes of triumph and defeat, there exists a moment of profound solitude. The hunter had been hunted. A fight that seemed on the cusp of only immortalizing his status as the boogeyman of combat shattered in an instant by a champ's glorious return. It's in moments like these where a warrior introspects within, gazing at the medical assistants and arena lights, wondering if climbing to the summit was worth the long fall. For Alex Pereira, though, this loss only paled in comparison to what he has fought all his life. And as the light heavyweight champion continues to roll on stronger than ever, he looks ahead to his UFC 300 main event bout with a past of resilience willing him on.
Pô, não tinha uma condição de vida legal, né? Meu pai pedreiro, minha mãe dona de casa. E comecei a trabalhar cedo, né? Em uma borracharia, com 12 anos de idade. 12 anos de idade, fazendo trampo ali de adulto, entendeu? E, pô, quando eu tô disposto a fazer algo, eu quero fazer bem feito, né? E quero ser um cara completo.
In the unforgiving landscape of Sao Paulo's favelas, where poverty and violence reign supreme, life is a daily battle for survival. Amidst the tattered houses and narrow alleyways, hope struggles to take root, suffocated by the harsh realities of the streets. For those born into this unforgiving environment, success can seem like an unattainable dream, especially to the hard-laboring children of such communities, destined to help uplift their families out of struggle from a young age. Hopeless, and bound to a back-breaking job in a tire shop, Alex, like many other young boys, turned to alcohol as a means of coping, seeking solace in its numbing embrace.
Como eu aprendi a trabalhar, ser um cara bacana e tal, eu aprendi também a beber.
With each sip, he sought refuge from the harsh realities that surrounded him, momentarily escaping the burdens of his existence. Where he looked for the same escape from his troubles as any young Brazilian man, sport.
Uma vez, aí eu falei assim, pô, o esporte é o que vai me salvar, né? E no Brasil é futebol.
A sports scene dominated by soccer, all ambitions for up-and-coming athletes out of the favelas were through there. But Alex aligned himself and his story in a different light.
Cara, nunca joguei bola, não sei fazer nada.
Vai brincar na rua.
O ginásio inteiro, inclusive a rapaziada aqui atrás.
After making his debut in Guarujá, Brazil in 2013, it was obvious to promoters that this young man had been hardened in his hands by his childhood, not just his mind. Reigning kickboxing promotions Glory and WGP picked him up immediately, where Alex continued to drink yet decimate his opponents, cementing himself as a legend in the nichely enjoyed sport, where boxing and MMA had come to rise to the top of mainstream popularity. It was after the continued success of his championship story in kickboxing that his drinking problem came to a tipping point.
E aí, algumas coisas ali me atrapalhou. Eu falei, cara, eu tenho que parar de beber agora. Se eu não parar, eu não vou ser ninguém, né?
4 years into his kickboxing career, Pereira decided it was time to stop. And despite numerous failed attempts, his fourth attempt was his last, where he has yet to have a sip since, fully committing himself as a sportsman and setting up a future for his family. He continued only to rack up wins over the sport's elite, but it was time for greener pastures. The scene of combat sports had evolved and Alex was on the verge of missing out. However, a late starter to the sport and a man who came from nothing, it seemed the creeping doubts from his past and inexperience persisted to haunt him.
He's gonna be at some pub
talking some shit about I beat that guy one time, trying to get a dick sucked from a crack whore or some shit. Anyone who wants to beat me should have done it yesterday, because every fucking day I'm getting better, man. I'm just like in the gym, working, losing, and that's how I learned as well, because I get my ass handed to me in the gym a lot, so.
A certain former foe of Poatan, whom he had previously defeated twice in kickboxing, had amounted to great success in MMA, an avenue Pereira was looking to explore. In 2015, Pereira made a seamless transition to professional MMA, debuting in Jungle Fight 82. Despite facing initial setbacks, Pereira quickly found success, securing victories in Legacy Fighting Alliance and earning his spot in the UFC with a viral knockout.
Like Todd say, I'm moving on to MMA. I signed with the UFC. I'll be fighting on Madison Square Garden in New York City on November 6th. I hope I got all you guys' support.
For your return, my friend. Good luck to you.
His explosive knockout power and technical prowess translated well into the MMA arena, foreshadowing his meteoric rise in the sport.
UFC, thank you. I'm so happy to be part of the family.
7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN Plus. It begins in the middleweight division.
His history with Adesanya set the stage for a glorious trilogy in the Kiwi's chosen sport, and although he had defeated his alcoholic adversity, it was the doubt of his highly risen opponent that appeared as obstacle number 2 in Alex's quest to fully heal his favela-driven life. What seemed like 2 light-efforted victories over UFC talent had made the story even richer, with what many considered a gifted contender shot against perennial UFC fighter Sean Strickland a task too heavy.
There's not one glory kickboxer in any weight class that I couldn't stand and bang with. So don't tell me just because you're some big Brazilian, you knocked out Izzy 20 years ago, that I can't stand with you. Come on, motherfucker. Get out of here.
The striking acumen of Poatan had gone undermined, with the public and even the champion focused on Sean and Izzy's verbal wars in the lead-up to UFC 276. But it was the unwavering belief of a man who had been through hell that ultimately came out on top.
Very prepared for this fight, so whatever it brings, I'm ready. If you want to try strike, I'm ready. If you want to grapple, let's do it.
He didn't have the pedigree. Fewer ways to win. The odds makers got this one right. Or so they thought.
We're going to keep it clean. Touch gloves at this time if you wish.
We got to remember that. Oh, beautiful right hand by Izzy.
He wasn't the main event though, as his trilogy awaited.
Heavy low kick for the champion.
The champion cleaned up business with what many called a lackluster performance.
You're in a position now where you have beaten almost everyone in the division.
Look, we know who's next. That Poatan, Porra. Trust me, the first time I told you, it was an error on my part spamming right hands, and that was in kickboxing. It's easy to knock out the homeboy, what's the hillbilly's name? Because he was parrying the jab. But like I said at the press conference, next time I put you on skates, you're gonna get frozen like Elsa. I'll leave it at that.
The fight setup in the mecca of combat sports, UFC 281 in New York City, was a spectacle. Yet with the headlines being dominated by the potential outcomes of this fight, the chances of Alex's victory, as well as the champion's emotional mindset heading into the fight, the tribal ancestry of the Brazilian challenger took an undeserved backseat, revealing just how much of an anomaly his story of success is, and how he got his feared name. Comprised of 12,000 people, the Patacho tribe in Bahia, Brazil, holds the chances of one ascending to champion status at well below 0.001%. But the man of stone hands did not have time for statistics. a nickname from his tribal tongue gifted to him by his head coach, Bela Quavera. Poatan was fitting for the tribal warrior spirit of Alex, where he showcased his rituals for war in his walkouts and carried the burdens of his past into every hook he threw.
The guys of Glover Teixeira and Fernelli Feliz, 4th UFC appearance.
After 4 hard-fought rounds, it wouldn't seem a surprise to us looking back that Pereira found the will and resolve to win the fight, but the manner in which he did it is more important than the story of him and Adesanya.
For you to, it's one round for you to be a world champion. 5 minutes. Enough. You need to get to him.
It's about the story of him and ascending from that bar. With determination one may only forge from being dealt life's lowest hand, the kickboxer from Sao Paulo clinched what was never supposed to be his. A man brought to the light by his rivalry, he surely defined himself beyond it, having captured everything in the MMA world's eyes. His loss in the rematch to Adesanya seemed like the beginning of the end, but it's out of this darkness that a man that's faced it all can only smile. A stoic, stone-faced to a degree as cold as the power he unloaded in his fists, the quiet character he exuded was defeated on the largest stage for the first time, humanizing him in a way that seemed to, well, only endear him more.
Deixar pro meu filho quando ele crescer, se eles gostarem que nem o Adesanya, né?
You say these ones, I'm gonna live for his kids when they grow up, if they enjoy like Adesanya.
Israel Adesanya. Chama.
Alex's charisma came from his sincerity. He only spoke true to himself and his accomplishments, and assured people that he was a happy man despite all his tribulations and toneless expressions.
How special is it that you're about to become the first person to headline 2 UFC events at Madison Square Garden?
It's such a special moment, and believe me, I am really happy. I just don't smile much, but believe me, I am happy.
A feat rarely ever accomplished by past fighters, the allure of former esteemed champions such as Jose Aldo, who could not speak English, served as a major roadblock to a fighter's success in attracting media, a problem Poatan had not encountered as he showcased a more playful side as he rose up to his new light heavyweight challenge. His stock in the UFC faithful only rose from there. A title eliminator against Jan Blachowicz proved successful for Alex,
Belt, and now I'm gonna fight for the belt, doesn't matter against who.
Where he then fought Yuri Prochazka to potentially join a tight list of dual weight champions. But before that, he took time to reflect on his origins and reminisce about where he came from.
Agora a gente vai ali. Vou mostrar pra vocês. Situação meio sinistra.
As he walked through his old neighborhood of São Bernardo do Campo, memories of his childhood home took over his house tour, recounting stories of struggle that only made him stand taller in his shanty apartment.
Aqui em casa a gente nunca teve uma mesa, todo mundo vai sentar na mesa, não. Era um na cadeira ali, 2 no sofá, o outro no braço do sofá aqui, assistindo televisão.
In the slow process of renovation, Poatan was asked to sell the house on to grant his parents its value. Yet there is an essence of souvenir about the place he called home during his formative years.
Todos felizes, né? Acho que isso é o mais importante. Mas ficou uma história muito... Uma história sofrida, uma história de superação, né? Mas uma história muito alegre também. Foram muitas coisas que...
Stories of a childhood and the ailments of a life in the favelas are plastered over the ironically unplastered walls, as Alex makes his descent out of the home, stopping to say,
Obrigado, meu Deus.
As he exits the house he fought and bled to own.
hand. Oh! The counter from Pettis gets home!
Mistake by him.
That is gonna do it! Alex Pereira!
After a tremendous win over former champion Yuri Prochazka, Alex sought to settle the score with his rival in MMA, seeking to grant the amnesty and opportunity Israel once offered him.
I know that I'm not gonna do what he did to me, maybe fight 3 times to fight him on middleweight. I know he's a guy that have our history, so I'm gonna make it happen this fight.
Hey Adesanya, come to daddy.
With the sparks of gratitude that kept him humbled and hungry, coupled with his willingness to fight and earn his status, Alex's call-out served as the perfect representation of his growth into stardom, one that could only be capped off with being the savior of MMA's largest event of the year. A main event that packed the excitement of tricentennial success. The UFC turned to the Brazilian in an attempt to add weight to their headliner, a challenge Poatan gladly accepted.
In this business, it's about taking opportunities. Headlining UFC 300 with all the buzz and all the energy around it. We've been talking about 300 forever, and we were just trying to make the best fights that we could possibly make. We had 2 more fights to make, and we were trying to put on 2 badass fights.
Striker versus striker. 2 knockout artists in their primes coming to put on a show. It seems the entire MMA world is rooting for Alex Pereira, but that wasn't always the case. Doubts and unfavorable odds carved from his environment, habits, and opponents have only seemed to make him stronger. And no matter how solid a man's hands can be, it's only the heart that can withstand such a toll. Fighting for something larger than yourself, a representation of struggle, of heritage, and success, all in a violent package that awaits its return on April 13th.